Alright, everybody, it's been over a week and the patch still hasn't been announced.
I hate giving dates at this point because I blow through them like there's no tomorrow.
When it's ready, JLW. Jeez.
Yeah,
when it's ready. Soon.
But we do have a bit more information that I'm going to go over today with you right here, right now. So, let's get right into it. The first thing to address is that there was supposed to be a patch announcement coming out a few days ago. However, there seems to be some technical delays that have prevented us from being able to have a release time frame. That's not to say that they aren't still very busy on the project. Of course, Brevik has told us on stream that he has been pulling some 80 to 100 hour weeks working on content for the game, so his passion for the project is still very high. Things in life happen and we can't always reach our goals on time, but they will come to those who are patient, and hopefully we as a community can be patient for Mr. and Mrs. Brevik as they get this content to us. Now, what we can expect from them once they deliver what they've been working on so tirelessly is some overall improvements to most aspects of the game so far. One of the big projects that could be summarized in just a single line of text is going to be improved sound. If you've played this game for more than 5 minutes, you can realize just how all over the place the sound equalizer is. And this is something that David has been working on quite a lot for something that can be summarized in such a small line of text. Once you actually go into what is being updated, you can realize how much time must have been invested into this.
Is there sound over there? Actually,
Turn it more.
I'm going to 11.
There you go. Do combat volume. No, don't go down. Okay.
So not only is the logic around the volume being tweaked and worked on, there's also improved sound effects, and what that means is that there's added sound effects. For example, the slimes make a little squish squish sound.
Oh god, that's such a disgusting sound.
The teleporting assassins have a little shiv sound. The intro of all things, imagine that. The intro has a voiceover now. Gonna play a little bit for you right now.
Some unexpected difficulties arose and I had to improvise. I could only solve them by...
So that in and of itself has probably taken a good chunk of time. The news on the audio and the addition of the sound effects and other such aspects, that is actually a really huge note on me. I feel like that adds an extra layer of polish to a game. And when comparing with other games out there that I've played recently, the sound design on this is actually not the best. It's not the worst. I played an RTS game recently with probably the worst gun effects on here, so It Lurks Below isn't the worst game out there. But there has been some little grunts and groans, hitting effects that could have been improved, and it sounds like that'll come with this next big update, so awesome. Thank you. Perfect. But that's not the biggest news. The biggest news is going to be the towns, and
Different graphics. There are going to be all sorts of really cool things you can build with some of the tiles because there are a lot of color coordinated tiles that you can build all sorts of structures with, which kind of leads us to the town idea.
Oh my god.
Not yet. We'll get to that. There's a lot to digest for that. But there's going to be a big town update coming either in this patch or they're still working on it. But let's actually go with what is actually confirmed as of right now. The monster AI has been improved, tweaked, changed. Some monsters react differently. Some monsters are going to have some extra attacks. One of the things is going to be the slimes. Instead of having a lobbing projectile, they're going to shoot multiple projectiles at you from the main giant slime before splitting off into the tiny ones. He's also briefly mentioned an ogre monster, which has a whirlwind attack. So what I'm hoping is that that means that the unique monsters, or named monsters at least, those are going to actually have some extra attacks. So they're not just a meat shield, they're not just the big giant buff thing that you need to work down, takes more hits than the other guys. They'll also have special abilities for you to encounter and to deal with, which would be cool. What hasn't been confirmed for this next big patch, there's two of those things. One of them is going to be a menu overhaul. Obviously, the menu in this game is a bit archaic, it's a bit minimalistic, which has its own little charm, but there's a lot of tweaks that could improve its usability and its searchability. So this is likely what the overhaul is going to do for us. My biggest wish is that when you have the inventory open, you can at least see your character currently, unless you're playing on 4K. it completely covers your character. Just being able to have everything split off, similar to how Diablo has it, similar to how Path of Exile has it, in several games of this genre, where once you have it open, you can still see your character, you can still interact with the world around you, but you can also manage your inventory without having to open and close it every time. In any case, we'll have to wait and see what actually comes out of this. Big design decisions around towns that will help enable multiplayer and get rid of the tutorial section has been finalized, more or less. Like they've made up their mind that they're going to do it. There's still a bunch of tweaking that's going to be, but alongside your character saves, you will also have your town saves. So now, when you load up your character, you're going to be able to choose if you want to load up the town that you've worked on for 5 hours, 10 hours, however long you are, how much time you invest into these things. Or if you want to load up with a fresh town and start everything from scratch and redo everything all over again. This also means that you get this option from hardcore. So if you're the kind of player who plays hardcore but doesn't want to lose your town, after you spent so much time beautifying the darn thing, then this is for you. You can of course still choose the option not to have the saved town load in, and once you lose your hardcore character, you lose the town, and it works just as it does right now. But what this means is that he will have a file to load in for multiplayer for the overworld, and which makes it a lot easier to figure out how to make it happen. This also will let you skip the tutorial, will let you get straight to, I don't know. He's got a lot of design decisions that needs to be made on this one as well because of the commander file. Maybe we'll skip commander file and go straight down to the next section. But this is where it gets tricky with this kind of stuff because the dirt layer doesn't refresh the ores. So where are you going to get the first armor piece from? Some of the questions that came up, like bank, of course that's going to be instanced. It's just one character that's going to have one bank. Optionally, perhaps you'd be able to have a shared instance, but I doubt that this is how he will intend to play the game. It means that you'd be able to share your town files with other players. Just like your current character saves, you'd be able to copy it, paste it, send it to somebody else, and they'd be able to load it on their side. And overall, I feel like it's going to be a good thing, and it's going to be an op. You don't want to play with it, you don't have to use it. You can continue to do your hardcore just like you do right now. Do want to use it? If you do want to have that save town aspect, you can do it that way as well. There were also 2 little pieces of news in there that kind of snuck in that we don't have much information on. New Zone, we have its resource mostly officially named as quartz, so you'll be collecting that in the Badlands, and water seems to be very close to being successful now. That's something that players have wanted for a long time. That's something that Mr. Brevik himself has been trying to get for a long time, but it's not easy. It's some pretty technical physics. So close means who knows. But it's there. Maybe. Probably not this update, but he is still working on it. And also some new newsworthy stuff that is not at all announced, but gonna be super big, and we don't know what this is gonna be. You can blame the PR person for that. I mean, I'm sure she's awesome. Probably. Maybe. But we aren't gonna hear about it for like a month or so. My best guess is that it's gonna be multiplayer, because that is gonna be a huge selling point for everybody. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure what it could be, but he and his wife can be very surprising when they want to be. So we'll just have to wait and see in about a month what goes on. Although a month could easily turn into 2 months with how things tend to go. But stay positive. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope there was some good stuff here. I'll leave the timestamps for where they talked about the different things in the description with the link to the VOD that it came from. And if you want to watch it, find out for yourself exactly how they said it, be my guest. It's always been fun watching them. They've got a great dynamic. If you can catch their streams, do so. When all is said and done, I thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your time. And I hope you have a wonderful day. This has been Farron's with the It Lurks Below news, and I'll see you down below. Enable multiplayer and also help get rid of the around towns that will help enable multiplayer and help remove the big design decisions around multiplayer that will help enable I cannot get this right. It's too long of a sentence.